People. Okay, one more, please. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. You may have seen how Sweden has responded to the pandemic. The schools are open, bars and restaurants are open.
Sweden's different.
Yeah. Do you regret not following that approach? Is that approach working?
I think we could have followed that approach. And if we did follow that approach, I think we might have 2 million people dead. And Sweden is having a lot of difficulty. You know, look, I'm very friendly with the leadership in Sweden. They took a different approach. They're a very disciplined country to start off with, but they did take a different. And, you know, other places tried it. UK tried it. The herd approach, okay? Herd. And they tried it. And you saw what happened in UK. It set them back a lot of time. It's been, you know, they're having a tough time. Other countries have tried it. And Sweden is suffering greatly. I mean, Sweden's suffering greatly. If we did the herd, if we went with the herd, as they say, we would have had potentially, I mean, you see the charts. Nobody knows. Nobody will ever know, fortunately, because we're going to be substantially less than the minimum. I certainly hope, unless something happens that would be tragic. So they had a minimum number. If we did, one of the reasons we're so far below that number is because nobody thought the American people could be so disciplined. Nobody thought it was possible. And I guess when they watched us up here every day and they watched other people and they listened to their representatives and governors, nobody thought that the American people could be so disciplined. They've been unbelievable. And because of that, so you have a minimum number of 100,000, and then you had the 2.2 number that if we did nothing, if we did just kept working, everybody go to work, people would be dropping dead on the subways. No. If we would have lost 1 million people, take the 2.2 million and cut it in half. Cut it in more than half. Make it 1 million people, okay? Now take that number and cut it in half. Make it 500,000 people. That's if we did nothing, right? It's unacceptable. It's too many people. So we spent more money on stimulus? Who cares by comparison? You take 2.2, you cut it in half, you cut it in half, you cut it in half, you keep cutting it in half. I don't care what number you choose. 500,000, 400,000. Well, we're going to have, we were talking 50, 60, 65, maybe. Maybe. But if we would have done what one country tried, and it has been very tough for them, you know that, very, very nasty, very tough. But if we would have done that here, and again, you got to remember, UK tried it. And I was a little surprised, and I watched it. They were going about, what, 2 weeks, and they said, we got to stop, because they were going to have a whole country infected. So with all of that being said, we got to get back to work. We got to get our country open. But we could have lost 2 million people. We could have lost 1 million people. We could have lost 500,000 people. If we would have lost 500,000 people, now I'll say this also, from the standpoint of being president and vice president, and we're up there and we're doing that herd and we're going to bullet through it, do you honestly think people like Jim and yourself and other people would have, Jeff, would have put up with it? As people are dying all over, they would have said, this man is crazy. Because the numbers, Tony, at a minimum, would have been many, many times greater than the numbers we're talking about. So I'm very honored by our decisions, all of us. We talk about it all the time. I said, you want to let him you just ride it. You just ride it right through. We would have lost potentially millions of people. Now, it would have been unsustainable. It would have been impossible to do. And the American people have been so disciplined. It's been my honor to be their president. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it always. It's been my great honor to have been their president. And I have a big decision coming up. And I only hope to God that it's the right decision. But it'll be based on the input from a lot of very talented people, very smart people, and people that love our country. Thank you all very much. Thank you.